What's up everybody, and welcome back to another video and indeed another installment of Tom Talks. And the topic of the day today is the PlayStation meeting event that happened on Wednesday night. Unfortunately I wasn't able to check it out live. I was down in London, which is actually going to be the this week's video. But the PlayStation meeting happened. A lot of big announcements came out of it. A lot of people are talking about it, chiming in with their opinions and stuff, so I thought I would do the same. I caught up with the news on Thursday night, and it was interesting to say the least. So I think before I kind of jump into my overall impressions of the meeting and what was announced and revealed, let's talk about the conference in general. As I say, I didn't watch it, but people that I follow in the industry said it wasn't a great conference overall. They were definitely trying to capture the energy and the spirit that was the PlayStation 4 reveal event in November in 2013. Apparently, it didn't even come close. There was, not a lot of enthusiasm in the room. People weren't kind of applauding things or anything like that. It felt very kind of prolonged, and there was Mark Cerny and Andrew House coming out, trying to explain why these new pieces of hardware need to exist and why you should be excited about them, and it didn't really get a lot of people excited apparently, so it fell short in that respect. But in terms of what was actually announced at the meeting itself, I have a document here, so apologies if I keep looking over to the right. But we'll start things off with the PlayStation 4 Slim, which Sony officially announced during the meeting. Of course, it was leaked a few weeks ago on a listing on Gumtree of all places. But now it's officially been announced, called the PS4 Slim. Called the PlayStation 4. It's coming out on September 15th for £249 here in the UK. And I dare say it'll be $299 in the US in terms of dollars. It supports HDR and has a 3.1 USB port, but by and large it does exactly what the PlayStation 4 does. The baseline PlayStation 4 is very much its existence, its purpose is very much to kind of phase out the old PS4s. This is going to be the PlayStation 4 going forwards, and it's kind of a cheaper entry point into the PlayStation family and the ecosystem when you consider the other piece of hardware that was announced that we'll get onto in a minute. But I just wanted to touch on one thing about the PlayStation 4 Slim. I did a listicle video last week, 4 reasons why I think the PS4 Slim doesn't need to exist, and I still stand by those 4 reasons. But the PlayStation meeting event gave me a 5th reason, and that is the PS4 Slim. I'm going to call it for now, obviously it's the PS4. The PS4 Slim, it supports HDR, which is high dynamic range. So if you've got a HDR TV, then you can capitalize on the HDR, which will be fine. Okay, that's something that the PS4 Slim does differently to the PS4s out there at the moment. But Andrew House revealed during the meeting, during the conference, that every single PlayStation 4 out in the wild at the moment will be getting an update in the next few days that will enable it to support HDR. So, once again, please tell me why the PlayStation 4 Slim needed to exist in the first place. If every single PS4 out there at the moment is going to be able to do HDR, then why not just reduce the price of the PS4, not confuse people with this new model, this slimmer model, and just say, look, this console that's been selling millions and millions of units, 40 plus million, it's now at its cheapest price. There you go. It's just completely baffling to me, but go and watch that listicle video if you want to hear my thoughts on the PlayStation 4 Slim, or the PS4 as it's called. But the big announcement of the PlayStation meeting was the long-rumoured PlayStation Neo, which is now officially called the PlayStation 4 Pro. And much like a lot of us thought, it is kind of a souped-up, more powerful PlayStation 4, and I have a list here of kind of the specifications that I'll read out very quickly. Faster GPU, more powerful. Faster CPU, sorry, more powerful GPU. I think it's sitting at something like 4 teraflops, whatever the hell that means. It displays 4K media, so I think Netflix and YouTube were talking about making dedicated apps to support 4K content. Of course, it outputs and upscales games to 4K, but it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray disc drive, which is completely baffling to me. I have no idea why that's absent from the PlayStation 4 Pro, especially when you consider the PlayStation 3 launched with a Blu-ray drive. That was arguably one of its biggest selling points. So why, you know, the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray drive is beyond me, especially when you consider the Xbox One S, which is the slimmed down version of the Xbox One, has a 4K Blu-ray drive. It has HDR, and it's miles cheaper. Of course, it's not as powerful as the PlayStation 4 Pro, but you know, it has the 4K Blu-ray drive. I don't know why they opted to exclude that from the PlayStation 4 Pro. I think Andrew House said in an interview, excuse me, that they see a future in streaming. They see more people streaming stuff, which is just complete nonsense to me. You know, physical media is still important to a lot of people. You know, we will eventually be in kind of a digital future where discs and stuff will be kind of, you know, no longer around, but we're not at that point yet. You've got to have a 4K Blu-ray drive in my opinion. So that was a bit weird. There'll be no kind of PS4 Pro exclusives. There'll be no, you know, particular features on with PS4 Pro kind of games and stuff. So it's all very much a part of the same ecosystem. That's what they were stressing. You know, games will look better, they may run better, but there'll be no kind of exclusive feature if you have a PS4 Pro. Then, you know, much in the same vein, there'll be no, you know, games exclusive to the PS4 Pro. It will not be splitting kind of the online user base, so it'll all take place on the same kind of servers and stuff. You'll still have your same PSN ID. If you want to transfer your files and your data, that's apparently very easy. When you boot up the PS4 Pro, you'll have an option to transfer your data and your files and stuff via Ethernet, you know, from your old PS4, which is pretty cool. It's got a 1TB hard drive, and it's out on November 10th this year for £349, $399. So it's right around the corner. The PS4 Slim, or the new PS4, is out September 15th, so that's out in the coming days, and PS4 Pro is not far behind. So that's kind of what the PS4 Pro does, what it's all about. Now, in terms of my general thoughts on the PS4 Pro, I think it's far too soon. I think 4K and HDR isn't at a point yet where it's in everybody's homes. It's getting there. You know, 4K TVs and HDR TVs are, you know, coming down in price. They're getting cheaper. They're being advertised a lot more, but they are, you know, not in the mainstream yet, I would argue. They're not, you know, near the level of like HD TVs and stuff. So I think Sony, I can understand Sony want to future-proof, and they want to have a console out there for when, you know, the 4K renaissance and HDR renaissance happens and it picks up pace and more people are buying 4K TVs, and they want to have this system out there in the wild for you to play your games and, you know, stream your 4K content, shows, movies, whatever it may be. But, you know, announcing it, having it out this year, I just think it is far too soon. When you compare it to the Project Scorpio that's out in holiday 2017, I think that's a much better time. Whether or not 4K and HDR will be more popular then remains to be seen, but I think that's a much safer bet than having it out this year. I think the PS4 Pro is appealing to a very small consumer base, very small part of the PlayStation family, because I think the large majority of people, including myself, are very happy with the PlayStation 4, original PlayStation 4, very happy with a HD TV. You know, we have no particular reason to go out and buy a 4K TV, and indeed the PS4 Pro just yet. There's going to come a time where more and more stuff is just naturally 4K, and there'll be a time where, of course, you have to go out and buy a 4K TV, but I just don't think we're at that time yet. So, you know, why Sony felt the need to bring out the PS4 Pro this year, I don't know. I think it would have been much smarter to hold it back until late 2017, early 2018, and even just have this be the PlayStation 5. You know, just announce the PlayStation 5 in in early 2018 and say it does 4K, HDR, it's got a 4K Blu-ray drive, all that sort of stuff, and just say this is the next PlayStation, this is the next console generation. But you know, it's not doing that. I think if Sony could take back this PS4 Pro, they probably would, because obviously with this console coming out in November, it's been in production for quite some time now. Obviously it's, you know, pretty much ready to go. So I think when Microsoft came out at E3 and announced the Project Scorpio, you know, 6 teraflops, they were probably like, shit, you know, we have a console that is significantly inferior to the Project Scorpio, so we just kind of have to get it out there now and you know, get as many sales as possible, and kind of just bite the bullet in the fact that we have a kind of inferior console to Microsoft. So in a way, Sony have lost this next mid-console generation before it's even begun, where I think they could have benefited much more if they'd held it back and you know, not fired on all cylinders straight away, and you know, even just had the next PlayStation be the PS5. So yeah, that's kind of my overall thoughts. You know, I think it's very much premeditated. I didn't think they needed to do this. The PlayStation 4 was winning. You know, even with Microsoft bringing out the S and Project Scorpio, of course they'll pick up sales and things, but I think Sony would have still had a comfortable lead. You know, the PS4 is selling like hotcakes. It sold 40+ million units. So I don't think they needed to get ahead of Microsoft and announce a console that's inferior to the Project Scorpio, in fear that they may lose the lead. But that's kind of my thoughts on the PlayStation 4 Pro. Let me know down below what you guys think. Are you going to pick up the PS4 Pro? You know, do you have a 4K TV? If so, it probably makes sense for you to go out and buy the PlayStation 4 Pro. But for a lot of people, I don't think that's the case. But do indeed let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Thank you so much for sticking this one out. It's again another change of pace here. I had a different video planned, but I wanted to share kind of my thoughts on the PS4 Pro. Next week there should be a Let's Play on Rocket League's new content, because that looks awesome. I would definitely want to check that out. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, if you liked the video, then please like, share, and subscribe. And until the next one, folks, take it easy.